Happy Wednesday, everyone. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for Puck It with Jo. Light night tonight on the ice. We've only got those two games, but the one game with the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning definitely should be an exciting one there. Now, we did have some great games go to overtime. Brian, lots of money out there with those overtime bets. Not a lot of those player props were able to cash. We were able to get a couple Pasternak, able to get those points on the board. So we had some phenomenal games. The Boston Bruins able to beat the Florida Panthers. Wow, what a game that was. If you guys didn't watch it, definitely go back and watch some highlights. Looked like the Florida Panthers were going to be able to get the win until the end there. And Montreal winning going into Colorado. Montreal always plays the Avs hard, and it's something it's so hard to take Montreal versus the Avs. I wish I had done it. Nathan McKinnon not even able to get those points on the board as they held the Colorado Avalanche to 1 goal last night. So quite the game we had out there. Let's make some freaking money tonight. So we're going to jump right into these games, you guys. Like I said, 2 games on deck. And if you're looking for all the odds, they're always over at FanDuel. Before I forget to mention, I will be on Game Time Decisions with Joe Ranieri. So make sure you join me over there at 6:25. And if you haven't downloaded the SportsGrid app, I highly recommend it. Links are above and below. You want to make sure you get it. You can get it for free on all kinds of devices. So don't miss out. Okay, first game we're going to talk about. The Ottawa Senators are taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Now, in this one, the Sabres at minus 144 on the money line at home and plus 120 for the Ottawa Senators. This total sitting at 6.5. Now, the 6.5 is juiced to the under, actually, at minus 118. Minus 104 to the over. When we look at the goaltending matchup, we do have confirmations of both. Korpisalo will be in net for the Ottawa Senators. He's got a 3.33 goals against average and an 8.88 save percentage. His last game versus Edmonton, though, he absolutely stood on his head. He allowed 3 goals on 36 shots on goal. He's gone 4-1 in his last 5 games with a 2.93 goals against average and a 900 save percentage. So we've seen a great effort out of Korpisalo as of late, but can it continue here versus a Buffalo Sabres team that is just so hungry? They're trying to hold on to a wild card spot while the Ottawa Senators, they're out of the equation, you guys. This team is looking to play the upset sort of role. And we know with how scrappy and young this team is out there on the ice, they love to upset other teams and not allow them to get to the playoffs. With this being a battle of the Atlantic, this will be the number 1 goal here out of the Ottawa Senators to make it a hard night for the Buffalo Sabres. Now, with the Buffalo Sabres having so much to play for, I do think we see the goals coming out of them as well. So I think they're going to be able to score on Korpisalo. This is the 4th matchup of the season between these two. Buffalo has won 2 of those so far, and we did see the Sens win the 1. When the Sens won the last game that they won was back in December 5-1. When Buffalo won the first 2, they won in January 5-3 and in October 6-4. And that's the kind of style of game I see in this one, a high scoring one, even though both of these goaltenders have been playing solid. Lankaken is confirmed here for the Buffalo Sabres. He's got a 2.48 goals against average and a 913 save percentage. And we know coming out of Christmas, Lankaken to now has been rolling nicely. I just think in this one, you got to look for a little bit of regression out of both of these goalies and for these offenses to be able to find the back of the net. His last game versus Calgary, he only allowed 1 goal on 33 shots on net. So he was fire. Versus Edmonton, he allowed 8 goals, but that was on 39 shots. His defense just not giving that resistance out there. And I expect that defense to not be able to give the resistance against the Ottawa Senators as well in this one. Versus the Kraken, he did allow 2 goals on 34 shots on goal. We know the Kraken don't have as many high danger shots. So I would have to go back and review those goals to see what kind of goals they were if he just had a little bit less puck luck out there on the night. But I do think with how we saw as the Ottawa Senators convert on the power play versus the Edmonton Oilers in their last game, because they are coming off that win versus Edmonton. That was on Sunday. It was a 5-3 win for the Sens. They converted on 3 of their 4 power play opportunities. So with what we saw out of them in that game, I do think they can roll in here and push Ottawa into a high-scoring game. even though we got solid goaltending. Defense on both sides, I don't trust. The defense of the Ottawa Senators on the season has allowed 3.56 goals per game. Their kill only at 72.9%. Neither team has elite power plays out here, converting 17%. And the kill is better for the Buffalo Sabres at 78.6. I like them here in a home situation where it's do or die kind of games, but the problem is I don't like the price. I wouldn't lay the price on the Buffalo Sabres. I would take the Ottawa Senators before I took the Buffalo Sabres because these teams are so evenly matched. And I know the Sens are sitting 8th in the Atlantic and 6th here for Buffalo, but I just think the Sens have every opportunity of winning. They've won their last 2. They got the win over Edmonton at home, and they've won, I believe, 5 of their last 6 or 7 games. So they've been playing really strong out there. Player props in this one because I'm loving this game to the over is where I'm going to look. So Buffalo has been having issues killing these penalties, and we have seen the Sens be able to score on the power play versus Edmonton on the power play. That's phenomenal because we know Edmonton has been one of those teams that they're on the kill and they've been able to score one man down in those situations. So for the Ottawa Senators to be able to score 3 out of 4 power play opportunities on Edmonton, fantastic. So if you're looking at power play points tonight for the Ottawa Senators players, I absolutely would look at that. I do think they'll be able to convert. Brady Tkachuk and Batherson are going to be the players I really circle in this game tonight. Now, I like Batherson here for the 3 or the 4+ shots on goal. You're getting the value. You look here at the Buffalo Sabres, this team is allowing Lankican to be absolutely peppered out there. So Batherson coming in here at 4+ shots on goal. Great plus money up, plus 185. I have to put a little bit on that. I do like his 2+ points better. 2+ points for Batherson coming in for the Ottawa Senators at plus 360. Brady Tkachuk as well for his 2+ points is plus 255. You guys know I like getting that plus money. If you just want to take both of these players for 1+ points, you're going to have to lay the juice, but I definitely think they get 1. I would rather take the risk on the 2+ points and get that big payoff because between the 2 of them, I believe one of them will cash that tonight, if not both. Now, Tage Thompson here for the anytime goal for the Buffalo Sabres. You got to look at Tage to come out really strong. He is the leader of this team, and when he is firing out there, the rest of the team is as well. His anytime goals at plus 155. I do like his 2+ points. So the 2+ points coming in at plus 300. He has 5 goals and 1 assist versus the Sens this season already. So he plays very strong for being able to get those goals versus the Ottawa Senators. In his last 5 games, he's been fire, 3 goals and 6 assists out there on the ice. 4 assists out there on the ice. So 3 goals, 4 assists in the last 5 games. And when we look at Alex Tuch here, you could look at him for the point or the assist tonight. I like that as well. He's had 1 goal and 6 assists in the last 5 games. So both of those players really clicking out there on the ice. Rasmus Dahlin, I do think is another player that you can look at. He actually leads this team in assists and in points with 35 assists and 52 points. So if you're looking at Rasmus Dahlin to get the points as well, I do like that. But definitely my favorites are Batherson and Brady Tkachuk for the Ottawa Senators, and then Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch here for the Buffalo Sabres. So that is the first game under our belt. I do think this one goes over. Like I said, the over 6.5 coming in at minus 104. And I do think the value on the Ottawa Senators at plus 120, this team wants to spoil everyone's chances. I wouldn't lay the minus 144 on the Buffalo Sabres, but that would be my very last bet in there, would be taking a side in this one. Let's look at the next game on the ice, you guys, with the Boston Bruins taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Just trying to pull up odds here as I refresh my screen. Funny. The Boston Bruins are minus 104, the Tampa Bay Lightning at minus 115. This line has moved during the day. It was, minus 118, minus 122, now down to minus 115. So up and down on this one. We've got a total of 6.5. Now that 6.5 juice to the under at minus 140 to the under, plus 114 to the over. I can't take this one to the under. And while I do think these teams have to start locking down and playing defensive hockey, we saw what the Boston Bruins were able to do last night versus the Florida Panthers. Now, I know this is the second night of a back-to-back, and we should see it be harder for them to be able to score here with a little bit of tired legs. Them look to slow this game down, but I'm just not buying into it versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning are going to come out. This is a team where they played better on their home ice than they have on the road. Their power play is the best overall in the league, clicking at 29%. Now, the Boston Bruins have a phenomenal kill at 82.1%. So I do think Tampa should be able to convert on those power plays, but it will be hard for them in this matchup versus the Boston Bruins. But I have to look at the Tampa Bay Lightning to be able to get the win. The Boston Bruins on the second night of back-to-back is not that worrisome, but I do think with them coming off that hard game versus Florida, if they had played anyone but the Florida Panthers last night, I would still be looking at the Bruins to be able to get 2 wins in a row on the road here. Not against Florida. That was such a hard game versus the Florida Panthers. They came out of the first period down in that one. It was a 2-1 first period for the Florida Panthers, and the Bruins were able to end up scoring 2 goals in the third period to be able to get that win. It was a 4-3 win last night. So that was a game that looked like it was going to go to OT. It should have gone to OT, but they were able to sink the puck in the back of the net with 3 minutes left or something crazy like that. So it was too bad to see for all of us wanting to cash that overtime. But I do think in this one, on the second night of back-to-back, this is their third game on the road, third game in 5 days. And this road schedule is hard, you guys. They have the Washington Capitals on Saturday, the Preds on Tuesday, the Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday, and then they return home to face the Florida Panthers again next Saturday. So hard slate here for the Boston Bruins. We know in regulation to be able to get these wins has been a struggle for them. So one thing I am looking at here, especially versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, this battle of the Atlantic here, is for this game to go to overtime. This game to go to overtime is coming in at plus 340. I do think the Tampa Bay Lightning can win this. It's coming in right around that minus 115 mark, like I said. The Tampa Bay Lightning, though, I think if they win it, it's going to be in a high-scoring game. It goes over this total. I don't 100% think that they can lock down the Boston Bruins. Bruins are so strong offensively. And like I said, I think it's that tight of a game that OT is in play. So I would be leaning on the over 6.5. I don't love it. I think if we see this line move a little bit, it's plus 114 now. I am hoping that first period we see the lockdown of these teams. Even if we see a lockdown of both of these teams in the first, if this line drops to 5.5, I'd definitely be hitting that to the over because I do think we will see that explosion. And once the floodgates open and once someone makes a mistake out there, we'll see the other team trying to play catch-up mode. The Tampa Bay Lightning's defense has been stronger at home, and Andrei Vasilevskiy has been playing solid, but you look at some of these games and the goals he's allowed in some of them, and you just kind of head shaker out there. And the Boston Bruins have been putting up the goals left, right, and center as of late. Now, Allmark is expected, not confirmed yet, for the Boston Bruins. I'd be shocked. It was Swayman last night. His save shots on goal prop was 25.5 and minus 130 to the over. So the book's really expecting him to be able to save over that number. That being said, you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning here, they're averaging 28.8. I expect at least 35 shots out of them, but because I'm leaning on a higher scoring one here, I don't want to look at the goalie prop. Andrei Vasilevskiy sitting at the same. He is at 25.5. And sorry, Allmark is confirmed. We got confirmation right before, and I looked at that. That's why I have a number there, but first game home for the Tampa Bay Lightning as well. So it's a hard spot. You're getting plus money on the Bruins, but I do think Tampa can get this. My favorite bet is overtime. I really do think we get this done in OT between these two teams. With Tampa coming home, they had a successful road trip. They went 4-1. With their last 2 games going to overtime. They played overtime Saturday and Sunday back to back. So when you look at them, they had to take the Ducks to overtime, but they played the Kings the night before and went to overtime and were able to, they didn't win. They lost that one. So it was a hard road trip, but they came out successful 4-1 in that road trip. I do think they can push the Bruins tonight. So players that I'm looking at, Pasternak got us at 2+ points yesterday for the Boston Bruins. Thankfully, got us some plus money. So he has 45 goals and 56 assists and 101 points. I would be looking at him tonight, but I do think this is a game where I want to isolate the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to take Braden Point's power play point We know how strong the power play is of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Braden Point to get a power play point is coming in at plus 200. So that is where I'm going to go with this game. I'm going to take Tampa on the money line. I'm going to take overtime between these two at plus 340 and Braden Point for the power play point at plus 200. Sprinkle on the draw. I am with you guys. I really do think this one comes down to them being able to get the win. We're all riding the Lightning. Let's make some freaking money today, Eddie. That's for sure. I can't take an under in either of these, and I could see Boston coming out and shutting down defensively in that first period. And I do think that's this really solid way to look. Even though I have a feeling this goes to the over, that first period could be no goals in the first 10 minutes, or we could open up right away. My number would be 11, Jimmy. I would be number 11, my favorite number out there. So Kev, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys so much for being here every day. Let's just look at this game here, and I'll just look at a couple more things. The no goals in the first 10 minutes is coming in at plus 114. It's risky because the Tampa Bay Lightning love to come out and fire right off in that first period. I could see the goal coming in by them quick in this game, or this one being scoreless at the end of the first. So I'm not going to touch the first period, you guys. I really do feel that if we see that drop, then we can see the total drop down to a 5.5 and then still get plus money to the over. And that's what I absolutely love, because I think if this goes to overtime, it is 3-3 going to overtime, pushing us over that 5.5, right? So it's kind of a scary one here tonight out there on the ice, but so many opportunities to make some money. We got Rangers to OT last night. Definitely a good one. So you guys, let's do it again. Let's have a lot of fun. Could the Buffalo Sabres and the Senators go to overtime? They absolutely could. Let's just look at that overtime. If we're getting over plus 350 for this one to go to overtime, I think it's worth it as well. The Sabres have too much to play for, and it's coming in at plus 360 over on FanDuel. So I would look a little bit of money for both of these games to go to overtime. We're getting to that point in the season where teams like the Senators, who love to spoil games, and teams like the Buffalo Sabres, who need the win, both of these teams are going to play so hard, especially when they're divisional opponents like these two teams. So that's everything, you guys. Have a good one tonight. Keep smiling. Remember, join me on Game Time Decisions at 6:25. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. Have a great night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.